Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here at University of Kent and to address you. I'm coming to you from the packaging industry, not the plastics packaging industry. And I just want to say that I'm not here to rubbish plastics. I'm here just to offer a different point of view. And yesterday I was lucky enough to be at the Recycling Waste Matters exhibition at the NEC, and I heard a talk given by David Newman of the BBIA, who gave some very interesting figures. So just to recap, in the EU, about 50 million tonnes of food waste are created each year, and 9.5 million in the UK. To give you an idea about packaging, I believe, if I got the figures right, there's about 9 million tonnes of paper-based packaging used in the UK each year, about 6 million tonnes of plastic and growing, and 150,000 tonnes of bioplastics, which seems to be creating quite a bit of a stir. Now, my particular interest is about a product which isn't a bioplastic, it's a fibre product, but I want to talk to you about the impacts that it could have on food waste and why they connect. So we're probably all aware of the amount of plastic packaging in supermarkets. It's everywhere. It's a huge industry, and I'm just going to focus on the ovenable plastics, which is in particular a product called CPET. Polyprop, of course, is also for microwavable product. There's not enough PP being sent back around, so that's something that's quite important too. But with CPET, there's a particular problem. It's a plastic which is will melt at about 200 degrees. It takes a lot of energy to make it. It takes about 6.5 times its own weight in carbon emissions to produce the product, and it has some severe limitations. So why am I droning on about it? Well, the way you get rid of it is you bury it or you burn it, as deemed by RAP, who have declared that ovenable materials, or plastic trays in particular, that have got food contamination cannot be recycled. Now, to be specific, they've said when it's got a 3D food contamination, so a lump of lasagna burned onto the side of the tray, that kind of thing. I think you probably would already agree that landfilling is not a sustainable long-term advantage. If it goes to waste incineration, the best outcome is energy from waste, which is not really circular, and of course it loses the valuable biomaterials as well. So what other ways are there to deal with so much food waste and ovenable packaging? Well, if it's composted, and of course it can be industrially composted, and that would need to be the case. Just like to say that in our Isles, Wales is number 3 in the world at doing this well, so well done to the Welsh. In 2024, the rest of the country, England, those councils that are not already collecting food waste will be obliged to do so by government. So households and businesses will be able to have their food waste collected. What's that got to do with packaging? Well, if you consider that right now ovenable plastics are doomed to be a one-trip use, then if you had a compostable material that was sent through that system, you would be using the food material, which is valuable for the composting process to create biogas and to create fertiliser at the end of life, or the valuable fibre. And that's what we're on about today. So just to recap, about a third of the world's food goes to waste, and producing it and transporting it, that food rot releases 8 to 10% of the global greenhouse gases. So it's a big issue. As I already said, about 9.5 million tonnes are made in the UK. So it's something for us to focus on. So we've developed a product which is based on a fibre tray. In this case, at the moment, it's bagasse, which is a waste product of sugarcane production. Bagasse is already very successful for getting my business, which is KCC, for food service, where it's quickly used in takeaway situations, where bluntly, you're going to buy something and you're going to eat it before the tray fails. And to explain that, it's ideal for short term because it's porous. If we want to deal with the masses of material that are put through supermarkets, and in the UK we calculate from latest figures supplied by RAP that there's about 2 billion trays a year in the UK alone, and this problem exists elsewhere. We have to find a way for it to work there. So we have developed at KCC a coating and a manufacturing system to bond the surface, not using plastic, it's not using a film, it's using biomaterial. And that has been tested rigorously by the likes of Camden Laboratory, which is a world famous laboratory, that we comply with food migration limits of the UK and EU, and in fact we exceed the temperature that you can cook in the trays over what you can do in plastic ovenable trays, which have a limit of about 200 C, and we are certified up to 240. We also have a pulpability certificate, so it would be possible to recycle it with paper fibres. And we've had the Open University conduct tests to EN 13432 standards, which show that it would comply with composting. So we're in an infancy in terms of output. The biggest issue is about funding the expansion. It's been a long campaign to get people interested in this, but it's now beginning to take off. Of course, that means that the whole product could be sent to anaerobic digestion, which would mean there would be no loss of the biomaterials, it would be clean, and of course it would reduce the amount of fossil fuel plastics that need to be used for that particular sector. So, we are now looking in the future at being able to manufacture the trays in the UK rather than having them imported, and we've already identified suitable fibre material to do that. So you could say, what's not to like? Well, we like that idea very much, but unfortunately it takes a great deal of capital to be able to put the equipment in to make enough to deal with the UK market. But nevertheless, we believe that we keep agitating, we'll get somewhere. And as somebody I was talking to recently in the Welsh Government reminded me, we need to get a move on because we've got less than 10,000 days to get to 2050. And if we don't do things better than we are doing right now, we're not going to get anywhere near net zero. So thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to your questions again.